Welcome to Create Your Own Reality, a show about hope, inspiration, and encouragement. A program that will feature guests and topics that may inspire you to think about what is real and how you can create miracles in your life. Your host, Badish Lang. Thank you for joining us on Create Your Own Reality. I'm your host, Badish Lang, and my special guest is Sean Paris, and today's topic is the language of symbols and archetypes. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Thank you, Badish. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. You know, we've known each other for about 14 years,
Yes.
And I consider you a visionary.
Thank you.
And the way that you have brought archetypes and symbolism into your meditations, into your spiritual practice is absolutely awesome. And I wanted you to share a little bit more about that.
Well, let me just say, when you asked me to be a guest on this show, I was so excited because of symbols and archetypes means so much to my spiritual growth and who I am. And I give two specific examples. One, in my meditation, I see symbols. I mean, I start off completely black, and then literally certain symbols are archetypes, and sometimes I'm not even sure what they mean, but it's more of just a process.
It's a process.
Yeah, and then the other one is my archetype. I have a spirit guide named Charlie, who pretty much guides me through my life. And those are the biggest things that come out at me when I think of spiritual archetypes and symbols.
Well, and you trust Charlie because it's proven itself in confirmation after confirmation. But you developed that from this place right here and a trust right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say, and that doesn't happen overnight. I mean, there's been countless times where I'm sure I have called you and said, am I hearing Charlie right? Is this what you see? Because, I mean, during that process, you second guess yourself, especially when something comes in so clear. You're just going, did I just hear you right? You know?
Well, consider everyone should consider themselves in a birthing process when they start using symbols and the archetypical language. And, you know, it goes back in history to the beginning of man. We didn't have a language in the beginning, so we used colors and symbols and grunts, sounds. We graduated to create more sophisticated symbols, and we developed a written language. And we went from the sort of the indigenous and ancestral way of communicating, which was, like I said, you know, through like the drawings, primitive drawings. And we moved into more sophisticated civilizations, for instance, like the Greek and the Roman and then the Egyptian. And the writings, the hieroglyphics, were a language and a storytelling of the culture. And you know, it's modern man that actually broke the code for the hieroglyphics. And so a lot of symbolism has come out of all of those civilizations, and it's in our culture. And the reason I wanted to have the show in relationship to what really is powerful about symbols and archetypes is that culturally we basically are bombarded by symbolism all the time. You've got the corporate logos. See, this is the cultural symbology. We've got the corporate logos. We've got the symbols for driving the car, you know, stop, go, all of that. Everywhere you look, you are being affected by symbolism. Okay? Now, it's unconscious for the most part. But my point is, what happens if you take it and move it into a spiritual application of raising your consciousness and understand that you're building an archive, a library of information in which you can draw upon through your development of your senses. You know, I've studied the archetypical symbolic language and shamanism for probably about 25 years. My approach to it was probably more guided by spirit than it was somebody saying, you got to do this, you got to do that. I just seemed to fall into step with the different things that I incorporated in my life in developing, let's just say, a higher understanding that this language of spirit is a platform where it's open-ended, where one image creates another image. It's like little crumbs along the path, and they all have meaning to them, okay? So we're now in a modern culture that's and we're being bombarded by symbols, and we're not understanding how much impact they're having on our life. Now, I'm going to take you back to a time in the American history in 1776. Around that time, the First Continental Congress of the United States made money and put a pyramid on it.
Right, yeah.
Well, 6 years later, they took the pyramid off and put the eagle. Today, what do we have? Our money is covered in symbolism.
Yes.
And most kids in school don't know what it means. Okay?
I would say most people don't, yeah.
Well, they're not paying attention.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Okay? So I would say that we need to start looking at symbolism on a different level, because what you don't know can hurt you. Okay? Can I give you an example?
No, please do, yes.
This is one of my pet peeves. When children are wearing skull and bones on their clothing and tattooing on their body, and including girls, they don't understand what it really, really means. First of all, it is the symbol for the pirate. It's where it came from. Okay, now it means death, anarchy, to take, to steal with force, right? The biggest thing, death. Okay, I know a man who put the symbol of the skull and crossbone on his motorcycle, and I went like this.
Like he was inviting that in. I mean,
well,
death.
Exactly. And he said he had so many close calls after putting that symbol on his motorcycle that he stopped driving a motorcycle.
It was like he was just saying to the universe, this is what I want, and I'm going to give you the symbol for it.
Symbols hold energy.
Yeah.
Don't ever doubt that. They hold energy. And there is the good news, and then there's the challenge of symbols. And so right now I'm talking about the challenge of a symbol that, like the swastika, in our culture, we need to respect what it really, really means. Something holy like the swastika was taken from the American Indians and indigenous culture and turned into a symbol of death.
Yes.
All right? Well, when you have children who are 3 years old walking down the street with skull and bone on their clothes, and this is supposed to be cute, it's very upsetting to me personally. When I see a governor of a state wearing a belt with a skull and crossbone, the governor of a state, I'm not telling you who it is, but it was on television, I went, you know. So here's another level of the skull and crossbone, okay? And I'm going to talk about it. There is an organization in Yale that's called Skull and Crossbone, which is a very private society that a lot of presidents, a lot of governors, a lot of House of Representatives, a lot of senators, a lot of people of power have come out of an organization like the Bush family all went through Yale and Skull and Crossbone, okay? The society doesn't know a lot about it, but what it does know about it, not good.
Yeah.
And I just told you what the symbol means.
Yeah.
Put two and two together. Would you want that symbol tattooed on your child's body? Do you want it on their clothes? Do you want it anywhere around you?
That's what I was just going to say. I wouldn't want it anywhere around me, period.
Right. And yet...
But it's so prevalent, really, when you think about it. It's especially prevalent in the young culture. With their clothes,
Hollywood
with
has had a lot to do with making something abnormal normal. Okay?